All right, let's talk about the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. We're going to focus on two areas that touch pretty much all of us, your money and your health. And look, this isn't science fiction anymore. This is about the tricky trade-offs we're dealing with right here, right now.
You know, for the longest time, AI felt like something from a movie, right? But that future, it's already here. It's not some abstract idea anymore, not something just being talked about in labs.
AI is already woven deep into our financial systems. We've got algorithms deciding who gets a loan, flagging fraud, and even making moves in the stock market.
And it absolutely does not stop there. It's also in our hospitals, our clinics, helping doctors spot diseases and figure out what might happen next for a patient. I mean, the stakes just couldn't be any higher.
But with all this incredible power comes massive responsibility. And a lot of the time, when you gain something in one spot, you have to give something up somewhere else. So the really big question we have to ask is, what are the trade-offs?
So first, let's just get one thing straight. AI isn't coming. It's already here. It's actively shaping things. We're going to start by taking a look at the world of finance.
And in finance, the biggest tension often boils down to this: a battle between unbelievable speed and that timeless, crucial goal of fairness. Okay, think about applying for a loan. In the past, you could be waiting for days, maybe even weeks to hear back. Now, an AI can crunch your income, your credit history, your spending habits, and give you an answer in seconds. The jump in speed and efficiency is just huge. But here's the catch. What happens when the very data that the AI is learning from is full of our own past human biases? See, an algorithm doesn't know it's being unfair. It just spots the patterns it's been fed. And this is where that amazing efficiency runs smack into a really big problem. This visual just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On one hand, you get these lightning-fast, super smart, data-driven decisions. But on the other hand, you risk creating a system that just keeps repeating old prejudices, and that could unfairly lock out whole groups of people.
Now, let's think about fraud detection. AI is amazing at finding weird patterns that might signal a crime, but what if it's too sensitive? You get a lot of false positives, and that's when your card gets declined when you're just trying to buy milk. So that's the trade-off. Do you want maximum security or a smooth, easy experience that doesn't drive you crazy?
Okay, let's switch gears and head over to healthcare. The trade-offs here are just as serious, but they're focused on a different kind of problem: the desire for perfect accuracy versus our fundamental need for human trust.
I mean, the promise here is literally life-saving. You have AI models that can scan an X-ray or an MRI and see signs of disease with incredible precision, sometimes better than a person can. Spotting cancer early, that can completely change someone's outcome.
And this uncovers a massive challenge. Some of the most powerful AIs are what we call black boxes. They spit out an answer, but they can't tell you how they got it. So imagine a doctor gets a diagnosis from the AI, but can't explain the reasoning to their patient. How can you trust a decision you can't understand?
And there it is. You could have an AI that's more accurate than any human, but if its logic is a complete mystery, doctors are going to be hesitant to rely on it. Without trust, without explainability, even the most amazing tech can just sit on a shelf.
And in healthcare, the risks are just off the charts. You see some of the same problems from finance, like biased data hurting certain groups, but you also get new ones, like relying too much on a machine that could, sometimes, be wrong. These aren't just little technical glitches. They're huge ethical questions.
So when you put finance and healthcare side by side, you start to see something interesting. Even though what they do is totally different, the core problems they face are surprisingly similar. This table really makes that connection super clear. The issue of bias in finance, it looks like an unfair loan rejection. In healthcare, it's a skewed prediction that hurts someone. That lack of transparency, that's a black box credit score and an unexplained diagnosis. And then there's the big one, accountability. When the algorithm gets it wrong, who's on the hook? The person who wrote the code, the bank, the doctor? These are the tough questions everyone has to figure out.
So, with all these massive challenges, how do we move forward? Well, the answer isn't to hit the brakes on progress. It's about finding that responsible sweet spot between pushing forward and staying safe.
To build that trust, you need a plan. First up, bias audits. That means actively hunting for unfairness and fixing it. Second, human oversight. You have to make sure a real person has the final say when the stakes are high. Third, you gotta play by the rules, regulatory compliance. And finally, you can't just set it and forget it.
You need continuous monitoring to make sure these systems are actually working properly out in the real world. And this is really what it's all about. Being successful with AI isn't just about being innovative. It's about keeping that innovation in perfect balance with solid risk management and a really strong ethical core. You need all three in equal measure.
When it comes right down to it, this quote just says it all. Getting people to use AI, that's actually the easy part. The hard part, the important part, is doing it responsibly, with a whole lot of thought and care.
Which really just leaves us with one last question to think about. We know for a fact that AI's power is growing like crazy. The real test is going to be whether our wisdom can keep up.